Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest positively impacting our community. Today, I welcome Habitat for Humanity of Orange County President and CEO Michael Valentine. Habitat for Humanity is an affiliate of a global nonprofit housing organization that believes everyone needs a safe and affordable place to call home. Home ownership is the key to empowering a family, and Habitat OC changes lives by bringing people together to create affordable home ownership, communities, and hope. Thank you, Michael, for being on Impact OC.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Michael, can you please share with us who qualifies to become a Habitat OC homeowner and what they need to do in order to apply?
Well, I think you'd be surprised who qualifies for our homes. So I'm going to spend a little time explaining how that process works and who may qualify as a homeowner. And it's really central to our mission because it's about ownership. So our homeowners are typically in the low to moderate income, and they have to live in Orange County, so it's real specific. And would you believe the average or the area median income here for a family of four in Orange County is $129,000 a year. That's the income. So a low income family would be at about 80%, and that would be $126,000 a year for a family of four. And a moderate would be at about $154,000 a year at 125% of AMI. So I'm going to tell you about a family. They're a single income family. It was a highway patrolman, and they're a family of five with an income of $130,000. And they were able to purchase a home from us. And we're getting that home ready for them now, and they'll be moving in here in a few months once it's all completed. So, it's surprising, really, that there's a very large population of our workforce in Orange County that just can't afford a home at the median price here. So when a family wants to get involved in our program, they just start by going to our website, and there's a place to click on for home ownership, and you can learn about the program, learn about the requirements, put in some preliminary credit information, and then we really look for just a few things: their ability to pay, do they fit in the right category, their willingness to partner. And with our homes, our homeowners put in sweat equity, so they work on their houses, they support our program, they have to participate in the homeowners association, got to make their payments on time, just like any other lender would require. Then, the last thing is they need to show us they have a real need, because there's so many families that apply. So we want to see, are they in a small or overcrowded space? Are they paying more than 30 or 35% of their income towards their housing costs? Do they live in an unsafe neighborhood? Are they living in unhealthy conditions? And they just can't afford to buy a market rate home. And boy, some of the stories, one family that we recently put into a home, she grew up in one of their living conditions when she was growing up was in a garage. No bathroom, barely kitchen facilities, maybe a hot plate. And she said they would have to go down the street to the Target store to use the bathrooms. And on those hot summer days without air conditioning in the garage, they would just hang around the store all day. And that was her life as a little girl growing up. But they bought a home from us that we built in Santa Ana. And she and her children now live in this beautiful home and completely affordable, and her whole life has just changed because of that now.
Now, when they move out, do they need to sell it back to Habitat for Humanity?
Absolutely. We work so hard in raising the funds that are needed to make the home affordable, because it costs us much more to build than what they're sold for. And so we don't want to lose that equity that had been built into that home. So there's a deed restriction, and we have a silent second on the home. So when they're ready to sell, we get the first right of refusal to buy it back from them. So there is an equity calculation, but this isn't the lottery. They're not going to be able to buy a home for $200,000 or $300,000 and then sell it for $1.1 million because that's really what they're going for in the neighborhood. So we keep it affordable. There's an equity calculation. They get a little bit of the principal they've been paying off for the years, and then we fix the home up and find a new family, sell it back to them. So we've done that a little over 80 times here in the last 36 years. We've bought back and resold homes.
So please describe some of the homes Habitat has built.
Well, they're really beautiful homes. I was surprised when I first got to know this mission here. I started as a board member. And when I went to one of the home dedications and walked through the home, it was beautiful, it was modern, it was clean. There was a button by one of the sinks in the bathroom, and I go, what's this button for? And it was for a reheat pump. So it would move the water around the house so they could have hot water at the sink right away, and the solar panels on the roof, and it's energy efficient. And so the homes are really beautiful, and they fit in with the neighborhood. So if you're a neighbor and we're building a home in your neighborhood, you're not going to go, oh, there's definitely a Habitat house. Look at how simple and plain it is. No, our homes have different architectural styles. They might be a mission style or a little bit of a farmhouse or maybe craftsman. So it fits in to the neighborhood. And we recently completed a couple homes in a historic district, which had to pass the requirements of the historic district. So we have a Victorian style and a craftsman style home in that neighborhood.
So describe how you identify development and construction opportunities to build more homes.
Well, we have realized that our past model of building one home, white picket fence, in a single lot, doesn't work in Orange County. It's very expensive to acquire land, to design a unique single home. And so we're now looking for larger pieces of land where we can do multiple units in that one development. So we're looking to try to build maybe a dozen or even 20 homes all at once. So townhome style, the higher density. And so we're looking at the math to figure out how we can do that, because at the end of the day, it may cost us $600,000 to $700,000 if we were to build that home without any financial help. And we'll end up selling the homes anywhere from between 280 to maybe 5.25, depending on where the family falls in the scale of the low to moderate income. So you see there's a deficit there already. So we're going to get help from maybe the city with funds from the state or federal government. We're going to get help from donors who just write a check to help us with that gap. We get help from volunteers. We have thousands of volunteers that put in time, and that's free labor. That's really worth something. We get in-kind gifts. We have one very generous donor that gives us every single roof. Puts done it 93 times. Charles Antis has been really, really generous with us. So all that helps bring it down from the actual cost to something closer to what we end up selling the homes for.
Please describe the people and volunteers who help build and make homes affordable for Habitat OC.
It is so varied. It's an amazing group. We have almost 2,000 volunteers in our database that we can reach out to. And they're all ages, all walks of life, from executives, retirees, young people, men, women. It's just everybody joins in, and it's an incredible experience where a community comes together and works to help a family get a home.
Describe what they're doing.
So they're swinging a hammer. They're putting the nails. Of course, it's kind of funny to see some people with their nailing skills. Takes a few times, but they're putting the siding up. They're digging trenches, putting in landscaping, painting. Just almost every facet of the home is getting touched by a volunteer.
And the materials are really strong?
Absolutely. Yeah, great materials. We're not going for bottom shelf or top shelf, but just good, solid materials. And these are homes that last for a long, long time.
How long does it take to build a home?
Well, in our case, with the volunteers, it does take a bit longer. And I'd say on the short end, maybe 10 months, and it could go up to a year pretty easily with that time.
What are the demographics of the volunteers?
Oh my goodness, demographics are just the whole range. It's really interesting. We cross all. There's really no barrier, so to speak. We're all doing the same thing to help somebody with a home. So it's not political. It's not religious. It's not anything that could be controversial. We're just building a home.
And they know who they're building it for.
There are times when we actually have the home buyer working on the site with the volunteers, and that's really a special time when you're working side by side with that homeowner. Every homeowner, as I mentioned, has to put in sweat equity. So each applicant has put in 250 hours. So that's 500 hours, and that takes about 10 months to get that many hours in, because most of the time both parents are working. They only have a weekend. They might have to deal with childcare. So, it's not like they can put their life on pause and work for a month and then have the house. It takes time. And the most special moments for me are when we have the key, hand the key to the family, and they cut the ribbon and they turn that lock, and the kids, first thing, they're running in and they're running upstairs. This is my room. This is the house my dad built us. We have a doorbell. There's just so many things that you hear in that moment. These are first-time home buyers, and some of them are buying their first home in retirement. We recently had a home that we bought back. So it was one of those instances. We bought it back that was built 17 years ago, and the home buyer was a retired woman who worked in Orange County as a social worker. So she had retired, had never owned a home, and we had a one-bedroom property there in Cypress that was perfect for her. And so here she is in retirement, a fixed income, and can afford a home to own. And she said to me, her dream trip, now she could take it. She wants to go to Paris, but only after she learns French. So she's learning French over at Cypress College, and then she's going to take her dream trip. So.
Do you furnish the homes?
No, we don't. We don't want this to be completely a charity event for the family. Sweat equity, working for it, you really care about the property when you put in that kind of time. And in fact, in our 36 years, we've had 0 foreclosures. Everybody's paying for that. They treasure it. They value it. So to fill it with furniture just kind of, I think, diminishes that moment for them. We do have women who come together and they maybe buy a refrigerator for the family, or a dishwasher, or maybe a basket full of kind of, let's get started. But in general, the houses are unfurnished.
Tell us about the Women Build program.
Women's Build is a marvelous program. This is a group of ladies that are wholly dedicated to this mission. They meet every month. There's information about Women's Build on our website for anybody that's interested. But they meet each month. They go out there swinging hammers. I mean, they're doing the hard work. And in fact, their real pet project is what we call our Playhouse Build. And we give companies and individuals an opportunity to build a playhouse. And they have a little kit designed to do that. And so that's one of their pet projects, is they manufacture all these kits for us to use. And recently we had a group of teenagers from OSHA, from the Performing Arts School, and they had a Habitat for Humanity club on site, and they raised some money, raised a few $1,000s. Really impressive. It was their first year. So we said, well, why don't you come over and build a playhouse? And they were so excited to do that. And you should have seen them painting a little seascape scene on the outside of the playhouse and really personalize it and made it something special for a kid that's going to get to make that their little home.
Aren't those the playhouses that people auction for?
They're not the ones you might be thinking of, where you've seen these massive, incredible playhouses built in, in Fashion Island or places like that. These are little 4 foot by 6 foot maybe type size homes, simple little A-frame. Well, not an A-frame, but a gable roof and a little opening for a front door and a couple windows. And they're simple, but they're very cute and fun to use. Are
they at their other homes, or how does that work?
We did have one at a Santa Ana home. We set up a playhouse for the child there. So it just depends how many we have that get built throughout the year. We try to give them to other deserving charities, preschools, some of our families, and use it in that way.
How does Habitat support the Orange County faith community?
Well, our founding, this particular mission started as a faith organization. Seeing such inequity in housing moved a group of people to come together as a community and build that first house. And that first home was built for a black farmer in Americus, Georgia. And I think it was a $5,000 home, and his mortgage, I think, was about $25 a month. So it's faith in action is really important, but we are not a proselytizing organization. It's a big tent. We welcome anybody, all faiths and interfaith. It's just because, again, our mission is about building a home, which is non-political, non-religious. It's just a great experience.
Describe your home repair and accessibility modification services.
We like to call that home preservation. And the reason is there are older families, older maybe couples who everybody's moved out, and they're now on a fixed income. And that house they may have bought 30 years ago is slowly deteriorating, and it gets away from you sometimes. Maybe that roof is just beyond its useful life. But they don't have the $30,000 or $40,000 it might need to put a new roof on that. There are some very generous cities in our county, and we participate with about 7 or 8 of them in their home preservation programs. So they have funds from the state they can use. It could be 100% grant, or it might be a interest-free loan for the homeowner. It might be one of those things where we have a Cal Home grant, where it's a 30-year loan that is, you don't have to make payments on it, but it's the house is essentially liened for that amount, and then the day when the house is sold, then that loan is paid back for whatever was done for the home. But what it does is it allows the family to live safely in their home in age and place. So we have a team out there that goes out and does critical home repair. It could be roofs, it could be new windows, it might be a water heater, it could be air conditioning system, whatever it may take to make the house clean, safe, and also accessible. So we'll put in vertical, stand-up tubs and widen doorways and add grab bars. So any way to help them stay in place.
Is it offered for non-Habitat families?
Yes, absolutely.
So they could go to your website to get those kinds of services?
Yes, and many times too, they, depending on the city they live on, if they have this program, they can also go to the city. So cities like Anaheim, Tustin, Santa Ana, they all have programs like this to help.
And it's through your organization?
And then they come to us. So the city's contracted with us to manage that.
And you have 2 Restore locations. I understand you can sell them online. Tell us about the connection to Habitat OC.
Yeah, so the Restore is every sale of those stores goes towards supporting our mission. So the money that we make there help us build houses. And we have 2 stores. We have one in Santa Ana and one in Anaheim. And yes, we do sell products online as well, and that you can get to on our website. So we've got an extensive inventory of previously enjoyed appliances, furniture, lighting, building materials, windows, doors, so much more. And some of these are gently used. Some of the stuff is brand new. So anytime you might need some furniture or building materials, appliances, that's all we have at the store there.
But by the same token, they could donate those kinds of items to your organization.
Absolutely. You can bring them to the store, or you can give us a call, and we'll go pick it up.
Now we want to mention former President Jimmy Carter is connected to Habitat for Humanity. Explain his role in the past.
Well, from what I understand of the story, President Carter had been invited to be on the board of Habitat, and at the time I think it was called Humanity Housing. And as he sat in the room with these generous men and women that were part of that mission, they were talking about a fundraiser. It was just sort of in its fledgling years in the 60s, and they just finished raising $1 million in that one year, and somebody said, let's raise $10 million. And it was a big argument in the room. That's too much to go from $1 million to $10 million. How are we going to do that? And finally, President Carter chimed in. He says, if you're raising 10, maybe you'll get 8. It's a lot more than the 1 million he did last year. And so he convinced them to do that. And not only did he suggest the idea, but he really stepped up, making phone calls. Rosalind stepped in as well, reaching out. Every board member was inspired by what he was doing, and everybody else dug in too. And at the end of about 9 or 10 months, they had raised $12 million. And so the Carters fell in love with this mission. They began to do Carter builds across the country. And these would be large, like maybe 50, 60, 100 homes, big events. And when you see old video of the president and his wife just speaking to the audience, the emotion behind it, their passion for it, and their care and their love was really, really remarkable. And he put this mission on the map.
Explain how people feel when they're involved with helping you build homes.
I don't know. That emotion, hits me even as I'm just sitting here thinking about it. There's something special for those of us who have bought our first home. When you walk in and it's yours, and this is a place where you're going to raise your family, have your friends over. It's a special place. It's very different than some place you're renting, when you own it. And so to see a family that has worked so hard, so very hard, saving money, scrimping, and both parents are working very hard to make this happen. They want the best for their children. And in that moment, when they come to that realization that they've achieved the goal, and there's that relief and that joy, it's a very emotional time. Anytime we have a home dedication, there really isn't a dry eye in the room, because it just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, you just feel it.
And then the journey of building it, you're building one home. I bet many people then, they can't wait to do the next one, because there's probably something magical that occurs in the process.
Yes, there is. And, we, when we're in the framing stage, we give the volunteers markers to write messages of hope or just inspiration, and to see those thoughtful, kind words buried in the walls of that home, it's just magical.
Describe the hours people put in. From day to night.
Well, it's like any construction project. Starts early and ends, in the late afternoon. And I explained already about how our buyers put in their own sweat equity. But the volunteers, somebody might want to just spend a few hours to help, and others we have dedicated, we call them crew leaders. They're sort of like a foreman. They know how to do various skills. They have been trained in safety and CPR. And so they lead the volunteers, people who haven't had that experience, and show them. I've been out there on painting days, and they show you, here's how you use a roller. This is the direction you go. And, or again, how to hold the hammer, or how to use the cutoff saw, these types of things. So there are people out there that maybe for the first time they're handling a piece of equipment. And that experience for our volunteers, you see them kind of like have an aha moment. It's like, I can really do this. And then they take that skill home and they try to do some things. It's really neat.
Well, how can people get involved? My
goodness. I'm going to keep pointing you to the website, habitatoc.org. There are so many things you can click on to go through, whether you want to be involved in Women's Build, go to one of our events, or just volunteer for, a few hours on a weekend. You can help us in our office. You can help us at the Restore. So all different skills. We've got people who were accountants and they're helping in our accounting department, or people who are in marketing and sales and they're helping in our fund development department. So anyway, any skill, any desire you have, just come and help us and be part of this amazing event and miracle of building a home for a family.
Thank you, Habitat for Humanity of Orange County President and CEO Michael Valentine, for being on Impact OC. And I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.